Hello, my name is Mrs. Bartholomew Tetley Jones, and I am here to present to you a fantastic experience, the reading and performance of Lewis Carroll's Alice in Wonderland, brought to you by Riverside Unified School District's Visual and Performing Arts Department. Enjoy.
Chapter 2. The Pool of Tears. "Curiouser and curiouser," cried Alice. She was so much surprised that for the moment she quite forgot how to speak good English, now opening out like the largest telescope that ever was. "Goodbye, feet." For when she looked down at her feet, they seemed to be almost out of sight. They were getting so far off. "Oh, my poor little feet. I wonder who will put on your shoes and stockings for you now, dears. I'm sure I shan't be able. I shall be a great deal too far off to trouble myself about you. You must manage the best way that you can. But I must be kind to them," thought Alice, "or perhaps they won't walk the way I want to go. Let me see. I'll give them a new pair of boots every Christmas." And she was planning to herself how she would manage it. "They must go by the carrier," she thought. "Oh, how funny it'll seem sending presents to one's own feet. And how odd the directions will look. Alice's right foot, EQ, hearthrug, where the fender, with Alice's love. Oh dear, what nonsense I'm talking." Just at this moment her head struck against the roof of the hole. In fact, she was now rather more than 9 feet high, and she at once took the little golden key and hurried off to the garden door. Poor Alice! It was as much as she could do, lying down on one side to look into the garden with one eye. But to get through was more hopeless than ever. She sat down and began to cry again. "You ought to be ashamed of yourself," said Alice. "A great girl like you," she may well say this, "to go on crying this way. Stop at this moment, I tell you." But she went on all the same, shedding gallons of tears until there was a large pool all around her, about 4 inches deep and reaching half down the hole. After a time, she heard a little pattering of feet in the distance, and she hastily dried her eyes to see what was coming. It was the White Rabbit returning, splendidly dressed, with a pair of white kid gloves in one hand and a large fan in the other. He came trotting along in a great hurry, muttering to himself as he came, "Oh, the Duchess, the Duchess! Oh, won't she be so savage if I kept her waiting?" Alice felt so desperate that she was ready to ask help for anyone. So when the White Rabbit came near her, she began in a low, timid voice. If you please, sir." The rabbit started violently and dropped the white kid gloves and the fan and scurried away off into the darkness as hard as he could go. Alice took up the fan and gloves, as the hole was very hot, and she kept fanning herself all the time she went on talking. "Dear, dear, how queer everything is today. And yesterday things went on just as usual. I wonder if I've been changed in the night. Let me think. Was I the same when I got up this morning? I almost think I could remember feeling a little different, but I'm not sure. If I'm not the same, the next question is, who in the world am I? Oh, that's the great puzzle." And she began thinking over all the children that she knew that were of the same age as herself, to see if she could have been changed for any of them. "I'm sure I'm not Ada," she said, "for her hair goes in such long ridges, and mine doesn't go in ringlets at all. And I'm sure I can't be Mabel, for I know all sorts of things, and she knows very little. Besides, she's she, and I'm I. Oh dear, how puzzling it all is. I'll try to see if I know all the things I used to know. Let me see. 4 times 5 is 12, and 4 times 6 is 13, and 4 times 7 is... Oh dear, I shall never get to 20 at that rate. However, multiplication table, don't signify. Let's try geography. London is the capital of Paris, and Paris is the capital of Rome. And Rome? No, that's all wrong. I'm certain I must have been changed for Mabel. I'll try and say, how doth the little... And she crossed her hands in her lap as if she were saying lessons and began to repeat it. But her voice sounded hoarse and strange, and the words did not come out the same as they used to do. How doth the little crocodile improve his shining tail, and pour the waters of the Nile on every golden scale? How cheerfully he seems to grin, how neatly spread on it he spreads his claws, and welcome little fishes in with greatly smiling jaws.